This is breaking news from RTV6, working for you.
Breaking news unfolding right now in Muncie.
Police say they stopped a student carrying a gun near Muncie Central High School. RTV6's Nicole Griffin is at the scene gathering the latest information for us there. Nicole.
Mark and Amanda, good evening. Muncie Community Schools releasing a statement tonight telling us it took just minutes after learning about a threat made by a student to get that student into custody. We know police stopped that student as he was making his way back to Muncie Central High School, which is right behind us tonight. And we also know they did find a gun on this student. This all unfolding today around 2:30 p.m. Muncie police tell us a Muncie Central High School security officer was made aware of threats this student was making. The school district saying in a statement that security guard contacted Muncie police immediately, notifying them about the threats. Police say they had information that the student had left school and was planning to come back, and that's when a street officer found that student, made contact with him. Police say he was near the school but not on school grounds at that time. Police also telling us there was some sort of a struggle between the student and the officer and that a gun was eventually located. Now, we've also learned tonight, since that student was taken into custody, class was dismissed on time here at Muncie Central High School. But we have several questions tonight as well. There is a press conference that will be held at 5:30 tonight at Muncie City Hall, where we plan to ask police whether or not they believe there's an ongoing threat. Are any students still at risk? Those are questions that we will be asking at that press conference, and we'll bring it to you live right here on RTV6. But for now, reporting live in Muncie, Nicole Griffin, RTV6.
Nicole, thank you for that update. Tonight, a homophobic slur is causing tension at the state's largest public housing agency. The Indianapolis Housing Agency has a nonprofit group called Insight Development Corporation.
Yeah, the board chair for Insight is accused of using a derogatory word against the agency's executive director. Call 6 Chief Investigator Rafael Sanchez with this story that you will see only on RTV6. Rafael.
Mark and Amanda, tense and awkward over at IHA. People were stunned when they heard the word. The mayor of Indianapolis has asked for an outside investigation of this very situation. Here's what I know right now. John Hall is the executive director of the Indianapolis Housing Agency. He went to a meeting of the Insight Development Corporation, which is a not-for-profit group for IHA. That meeting was back on July the 18th. After he left that meeting, the Insight chairman, Rod Morgan, was overheard using a homophobic slur directed at Hall. Those who heard it have reported it to Human Resources. Hall himself sent a letter to the mayor's office to report the alleged incident. After you left that meeting, the chair of the Insight board, Mr. Morgan, used a derogatory homophobic slur directed at you.
I am familiar of the alleged comment, yes.
Should Mr. Morgan step down?
I think if he's under investigation right now, he should immediately remove himself. It is a very serious nature. Not only is it derogatory and discriminatory, it also undermines my authority.
We reached out to Morgan. He has yet to respond. We also reached out to Insight President Jennifer Green. IHA has a no talking to media policy, but Green was given permission in writing to address this issue. Ms. Green did not respond to our request, though given 24 hours and was provided with the specific nature of our request. Now, of course, on the slur issue, the Indianapolis City Mayor's Office, Joe Hogsett, responded to a letter from John Hall saying in part, the allegation is serious in nature and, if proven to be true, repulsive. I strongly condemn the use of language that is offensive, hurtful, and demeaning to employees. All new at 6 o'clock. Call 6 investigates questions the leader of IHA on recent property purchases at a time when the agency is facing a financial crisis. That story coming up at the top of the hour right here, only on RTV6. Mark?
We'll see you at 6 o'clock. Rafael, thank you. Tonight, Metro Police are providing details on a fatal shooting involving 3 officers. IMPD Police Chief Brian Roach says Deshaun Downing was shot and killed after pointing a gun at an officer following a traffic stop. Downing was shot by 2 members of the Flex team, which are assigned to handle violent offenders. The incident happened Friday on the 8500 block of East 42nd Street.
It's tragic what happened. On both sides, whether it's the family of Mr. Downing himself. and the officers in our IMPD family and the community in general. Anytime something like this happens, it affects all of us, and so I express my deepest sympathy and to both the officers and the family.
The shooting remains under investigation. The officers are on administrative leave. Chief Roach expects to have more information on this incident next week.
I do know that she wasn't protected. She wasn't safe.
A Hendricks County mom is speaking out for the first time about a Tri-West High School teacher and coach accused of sexual misconduct with her teenage daughter. Coach Tyler Bruce is under criminal investigation, and now his accuser's mom says the school district needs to be held accountable. She spoke exclusively with Call 6 Investigates' Kara Kenny today.
The accuser is back at Tri-West High School today for her senior year, but her mom says her daughter's excitement about school is now gone.
The 17-year-old teen and her parents, Stacy and Mark Lewis, filed a tort claim on August 6th against Northwest Hendricks County Schools. It's a notice of their plans to sue and a demand for the school to retain all evidence in the case. They allege the school district failed to properly monitor Tyler Bruce, a coach and teacher at Tri-West High School. The claim alleges Bruce exchanged inappropriate messages with the teen late at night on Snapchat and touched her under her clothing on several occasions. Documents show someone made an anonymous call about Bruce being alone with the teen girl back in March, but nothing happened until months later when a school resource officer witnessed an inappropriate interaction between the two, and Hendricks County Sheriff's Office began their criminal investigation. Stacy Lewis says her daughter is suffering as a result of what happened.
Typically, we start out the first day of every school year with pictures on the front porch of, here's the first day. That goes onto my Facebook page. We're so excited. Today was really hard because rather than being able to take that picture, I had to be worried about if she was going to be safe when she pulled into the parking lot. What was going to happen to her today? What are they going to say? What are they going to do?
Tyler Bruce is still under criminal investigation and has not been charged. The school board voted last month to keep him on staff. However, he remains on leave pending the criminal probe as well as the Department of Child Services investigation.
We reached out to the superintendent here at the administration building, and he told us he had no comment on this tort claim. Working for you in Hendricks County, I'm Call 6 Investigates' Kara Kenny.
Thanks, Karen. We tried to reach Tyler Bruce via email and phone for his comments, but we were unable to get a hold of him.
Now, time for your Storm Team 6 forecast. And today, we are celebrating 30 years with Kevin Gregory here at WRTV. And perfect because it's been a sunny, warm day for our special occasion today.
You like a calm day?
I love a calm day.
Anytime it's sunny out, I'm not busy. 87 degrees. The key right now, the fact that our humidity is just 39%, that wind is out of the west, nice little breeze. We did not hit 90. We hit 87, or 88, excuse me. We're currently at 87. I show you the radar. We don't need it tonight. The first half of tomorrow, it's tomorrow evening. The thunderstorms become a little more likely. We'll talk more about that timing in the main weather. There, the temperatures warm and dry everywhere in central Indiana. Between now and 10, skies will become mostly clear and 76 degrees.
Well, today, President Trump is visiting Dayton, Ohio and El Paso, Texas, the site of 2 mass shootings over the weekend. His visits have sparked lukewarm reactions from many residents and Democratic leaders who say his rhetoric played a role in these tragedies. ABC's Ramina Puga is in El Paso as the president touches down.
President Donald Trump visits Ohio and Texas today following 2 back-to-back deadly mass shootings. But before leaving Washington, the president dismissed claims that his rhetoric has emboldened white nationalists.
I think my rhetoric is it brings people together.
The president's first stop, Dayton, Ohio, where he and the First Lady were met with protesters outside one of the hospitals where many of Sunday's victims are being treated. During their private visit, the mayor of Dayton and Ohio's Democratic senator said they pushed President Trump to support gun control legislation following the shooting deaths of 9 people at the hands of a 24-year-old.
9 people died in Dayton because of a gun.
Here in El Paso, another community is also grieving. Mayor Dee Margo and Ciudad Juarez Mayor Armando Cabala bringing flowers to the memorial outside that Walmart, where a 21-year-old suspect shot and killed at least 22 people. The president expected to get a lukewarm acceptance here as well. Many people saying the president's words are sparking violence.
He has promoted a lot of this, all this anger. gets promoted across the nation, and it needs to stop.
This morning, the president lashing out at former El Paso Congressman Beto O'Rourke on Twitter. O'Rourke firing back, saying he doesn't think the community will welcome President Trump.
People in El Paso, by and large, do not want to see him here, understand that he is part of the problem.
During the president's visit to Dayton, we did not see him interact with the first responders or lawmakers. We'll see if he meets with residents here. In El Paso, Romina Puga, ABC News.
And we are less than a month away from legal sports betting in Indiana, but when will it be available? Under the new measure passed by state lawmakers this year, sports wagering will be legal on September 1st, and more than a handful of operators have said you will be able to place a bet in early September. But the Indiana Gaming Commission says some operators still have a lot of work to do before they can allow bets. What this means for you: some casinos may allow bets in early September, others may not be ready. As we get closer to September, we will keep you updated on when and where you will be able to place bets on sports.
Wheeler Mission is getting a huge boost in its effort to expand services for homeless women and children. Today, Wheeler officials announced they've raised more than $7 million toward a planned $12 million expansion of its Center for Women and Children. A big chunk of the money raised came from the Lilly Endowment with a $3 million donation. The mission has been dealing with a serious crisis, often having to turn away hundreds of children and women due to lack of space at the center.
Offering shelter and important services to women and children who are vulnerable in our community and who need support during a period of crisis in their lives is critically important. The number of homeless women and children in this community currently is not acceptable and should not be acceptable to any of us.
Well, they still need to raise about $5 million more, but officials say because of the Lilly Endowment contribution, they can break ground on the expansion later this year. Once it's completed, the center will offer 164 new permanent beds, 40 new emergency shelter beds, and 84 new family shelter beds.
They all want to come over and work with me, so they just like grandma.
Still ahead at 5:30 on RTV6, foster grandparents and how volunteers are impacting children's lives across the state.
But first, here at 5 o'clock, taking a different approach to learning to prepare high school students for the workforce.
At Ross, yes for less.
Welcome back to RTV6 News at 5. Hiring Hoosiers is connecting you and your family to training and education. Project Lead the Way is an Indiana company that is inspiring the next generation of the state's workforce by teaching them career skills through learning by doing. Project Lead the Way is a provider of STEM education programs in engineering, biomedical science, and computer science with a primary focus on career learning. The students take a different approach to learning in the classroom with a hands-on focus of activity, problem, project-based learning and making learning relevant for students. Brady Anderson is a senior at Noblesville High School, and he says Project Lead the Way taught him how to grow from failure.
I think the most memorable thing I've learned throughout my whole time in high school has been how to cope with failure, because through everything that I've done, there's been a lot of failure, and there's a lot of times that you do something and it doesn't turn out the way that you want it to turn out. And how do you deal with that? And then from there, you also have to kind of go back to reason and be more logical about it and understand that you can gain something from that the failure is teaching you something.
There are ways that parents, employers, and universities can engage with Project Lead the Way schools. And from a school perspective, the organization has directors of school engagement that can help any school get started to expand and to grow their programs. You can find their info on our website at hiringhoosiers.com.
30 years in the making. We've been talking about it, and all week today we are celebrating Kevin Gregory's 30th anniversary at Channel 6.
He was only 24 years old in 1989, arriving less than 2.5 years after graduating from Purdue. Kevin had 2 short stints in Lafayette and in Champaign, Illinois before he joined the WRTV staff. He worked alongside meteorologist Bob McLean and David James. Several years later, Paul Poteet joined them in the weather office.
In all the years I was here, Kevin, I never had to worry that he was looking over my shoulder or telling people that, if I were him, I wouldn't do that. He was a piece of cake to work with, and I'm sure he still is. And he's just as nice as he seems on TV. I know it may seem unbelievable. You may hate to hear that, but he is really that nice, people. That's just the way he is.
That's funny.
And it's so true. It is so true.
True.
We had a little celebration for Kevin in the newsroom at 3:30, and everybody said the same thing, Kevin. Just an all-around great guy.
It's humbling. It's humbling, and Paul's a great guy to work with. And some of you watching can see Paul, he's on in Cincinnati market.
Right.
So some of you that are on the edge between Indianapolis and Cincinnati can keep track of both.
It's good to see everybody come back and say, hey.
It's been amazing 30 years. But the greatest part about this last couple months as we celebrated the 70th anniversary, so you saw all the alumni come back in, so that's great. It's all about people. Let's talk about the weather and a few cumulus clouds. They're harmless. They'll fade away tonight. Temperatures above average, but still we haven't hit 90 in quite a while, well over 2 weeks, closing in on 3 weeks, and we've had that 14 times 90 or above this summer. 87 in Indy right now. It's 81 in Crawfordsville. Say hello to Zoe. She's ready. We've got her undivided attention, ready for a walk. Now that's a dog that can give you hints about the weather because humidity would influence her hair. Right?
Yeah, sure.
Get pretty frizzy.
She's giving you some puppy eyes.
Yeah.
So the humidity goes up during the day. Tomorrow will shorten the dog walks then, but this evening's not bad. The humidity is low, temperatures in the 70s, and it is dry. Rain opportunities, again, remain limited, but at least we have the opportunity. The best chance will come afternoon hours tomorrow into tomorrow night. A few of those may be strong, dry, Friday, Saturday, and the rain chance very low on Sunday. Do not change any timing for your weekend plans. Probably works out well. 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, the beginning of thunderstorms developing as we reach those what we call convective temperatures, where the thunderstorms start to blossom between 4 and 7, and then between 7 and 9. Pretty isolated. Again, it does not look like a slam dunk that we'll all see rain. Think we'll see thunderstorms, but the coverage will be spotty once again. Thursday temperatures in the morning, we start warmer, 71 degrees, 83 at noon, and then humidity becomes noticeable in the afternoon, but that humidity also a building block for this, some of the thunderstorms that we'll see. There is a slight risk for severe storms over the eastern half of the state, right through central Indiana, both north and south of Interstate 70. We'll keep our eye on that. It's kind of conditional just to getting the thunderstorms going. We get those going, then may have some damaging wind potential. Thursday temperatures, the warmest in the 7-day forecast in the upper 80s. Friday, humidity's down, temperatures down, lots of sunshine. Great way to dismount from the work week. And then this will give us momentum going into the second weekend of the Indiana State Fair. Temperatures start to warm up a bit Saturday and Sunday, but really Friday through Sunday, go for it. Head out to the fair and enjoy. Temperature on Sunday once again around 87 degrees. Chances of thunderstorms next week is greatest on Tuesday.
All right, Kevin, thank you for that. We appreciate it.
Soon, customers will be able to wash down their Hooters wings with some Hooters booze, and not just at the restaurant. We'll be right back.
Hello to you. I'm Julie Grant with Court TV, and we are covering a harrowing murder trial out of Tennessee. Defendant Eric Boyd is facing first-degree murder, rape, as well as other charges for his alleged role in a vicious attack on a young couple in West Knoxville. Now, that attack took place 12 years ago, and at the time, Boyd was convicted in federal court for being an accessory to the crime after the fact. But now, the state of Tennessee believes they have enough evidence to prosecute Boyd for directly participating in the rape and murder of Christopher Newsom and Shannon Christian. Now, Christopher and Shannon were young co-eds. This beautiful couple you see here, they were in a parking lot getting ready to go meet friends for the evening. They were carjacked, and instead of just taking the car, the criminals bound, gagged, raped, and tortured them for hours. The details are just gruesome. 4 people have already been found guilty of actively participating in these horrific crimes. Now, Eric Boyd is facing an additional 36 state charges, and if he's convicted, he could spend the rest of his life in prison. But the big question is, what new evidence does the state have now that places Boyd at the scene of the crimes? Prosecutors are planning on calling a jailhouse witness, one who has already been convicted of murder in this case. So the big question, will the jury believe him? We'll be bringing you gavel-to-gavel coverage of this very disturbing criminal trial right here on Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. Now back to you in the studio.
Julie, thank you. You can follow this case and other high-profile trials across the country 24/7 on CourtTV.com. From chicken wings to booze, Hooters is rolling out its own line of alcohol.
The restaurant chain announced it'll soon sell 8 different Hooters brand spirits. And just like its wings, some of the flavors will pack the heat. The Hooters spirits include vodka, gin, tequila, rum, and Hooters Heat Cinnamon Whiskey. The company says that's the flavor that comes with a touch of heat. They'll be sold in restaurants and some retail stores nationwide this fall.
Now, coming up on the Now Indy, calling all grandparents. A foster care program needs more people of an older generation. You're watching RTV6.